The case went to court in June 2023. Derek hired aggressive lawyers who painted me as a confused old man clinging to possessions. I was examined by court-appointed doctors who confirmed the Alzheimer's, but also noted I had periods of clarity. The key question: was I competent when I made the video will? Thomas was brilliant. He played excerpts from the 14-hour video. Me, clear-eyed and articulate, explaining not just the cars, but why I was doing this. My mind will fade, I'd said on camera, but my wishes won't. These cars are my legacy. They deserve better than quick cash sales to dealers. They deserve collectors who'll preserve them, honor them. And my heirs deserve to inherit only if they honor my wishes. The judge watched Derek's face as sale receipts were presented. The Ferrari sold for $8 million when I'd specified minimum $48 million. The Mercedes for $400,000 when appraisals showed $1.4 million. Car after car sold below value to dealers not collectors without any attempt to meet the will's conditions. Your honor, Derek's lawyer argued. Mr. Crawford has Alzheimer's. He doesn't understand current market values. Thomas responded by playing video of me discussing each car's value in detail, citing recent auction results, comparable sales, market trends. Seems Mr. Crawford understood values perfectly, the judge noted. His son apparently didn't. The ruling was swift and brutal. The video will was valid. Derek had materially breached every sale condition. The penalty clause was enforceable. Derek's inheritance, originally set at $4 million plus remaining assets, was reduced to zero. The $1.28 million he'd taken as commission had to be returned. The buyers who'd purchased cars below the will's minimum prices had to either pay the difference or return the vehicles. But the real victory came from the criminal charges: elder financial abuse, fraud, breach of fiduciary duty. The district attorney, reviewing the evidence, found Derek had systematically exploited a vulnerable adult with dementia. The fact that I'd protected myself didn't diminish his crimes. Derek pled guilty to avoid trial. 2 years in prison, 5 years probation, full restitution. He cried at sentencing, claiming he'd done it all for my care. The judge wasn't moved. You sold your father's life work for quick profit while he watched, confused and helpless. That's not care. That's cruelty. Amazingly, most of the cars came back. The dealers, facing lawsuits and wanting to avoid receiving stolen goods charges, negotiated returns. By December 2023, 38 of my 47 cars were back in my garage. The others were tracked down through the network. Thomas activated collectors worldwide who'd been waiting for specific models and were willing to pay fair prices. The Ferrari 250 GTO went to a museum in Italy, sold for $52 million with the condition it be displayed publicly. The Mercedes Gullwing went to a collector in Japan who'd restore it to concours condition. Each sale followed my video with perfectly verified collectors, fair prices, preservation promised. I don't drive anymore. The Alzheimer's has progressed, as we knew it would. But I can still walk through my garage, touch the cars. Remember, a caregiver helps me now, paid from the trust, not Derek's theft. Sometimes I forget their names, their years. But I remember the feeling of the wheel, the sound of the engines, Sarah laughing beside me on long drives. Derek wrote me once from prison, a long letter about forgiveness, addiction, gambling, apparently, pressure to succeed. He claimed he'd planned to use the money for my care, just needed it liquid. I didn't respond. What was there to say? He'd shown me who he was. The Alzheimer's had revealed his character more than mine. My granddaughter Emily, Derek's daughter, visits now. She's 16, wants to learn about cars. I teach her what I can remember: how to check oil, change tires, appreciate craftsmanship. She's gentle with my confusion, patient when I repeat stories. Grandpa, you've told me about the Ferrari 3 times. Have I? Well, it's a good story. The trust ensures the remaining cars will be preserved. Some to museums, some to collectors who'll sign preservation agreements. Emily will inherit enough for college and a start in life, but not enough to corrupt. The real inheritance is knowledge. How to plan, how to protect, how to preserve what. Matters even when your mind betrays you. Living with Alzheimer's is like driving through fog. Sometimes it clears and you see perfectly. Sometimes you can't see the hood ornament. But you keep driving because stopping means giving up, and I've never been good at that. The disease took my memory, but revealed truths I might have missed. With a clear mind, Derek wasn't corrupted by my diagnosis. He was revealed by it. The son who'd visit only on birthdays and holidays became attentive when money was involved. The boy who'd rolled his eyes at my passion saw opportunity in my confusion. Alzheimer's didn't change him. It exposed him. The video will save more than cars. It saved my dignity. When Derek was loading my life onto trucks, I knew justice was coming. When he patted my hand and spoke to me like a child, I knew the videos would speak for me. When he celebrated his theft, I knew the law would intervene. Preparation gave me peace in the chaos. Today, good days and bad blend together. I know I have Alzheimer's, but sometimes forget what that means. I know I have cars, but sometimes can't name them. I know I had a son named Derek, but prefer to forget that. The caregivers are kind. They walk me through the garage, let me sit in different cars, play old racing videos. Thomas still manages everything. The trust runs smoothly. Cars are maintained, insurance paid, legacy preserved. When I die, and it won't be long now, the last 20 cars will go to museums and collectors who've already been vetted. My obituary will mention the collection, the preservation, the planning. It won't mention Derek. Some things are better forgotten, even without Alzheimer's. A 1967 Corvette sits in the first bay, the car whose hood ornament I mentioned in the video, still sharp as a blade, still beautiful. I sit beside it most mornings, running my hand along its lines. Sometimes I remember buying it. Sometimes I think it's Tuesday. But it's there, preserved, protected, like my dignity, like my legacy. Like the parts of me Alzheimer's can't steal. My name is James Crawford. I have Alzheimer's disease and a classic car collection worth $15 million. My son tried to steal both my memories and my machines, thinking confusion meant compliance. He learned that a prepared mind, even a failing one, beats an unprepared thief. The video I recorded while Sharp protected me when I became dull. Every car, every condition, every word waited patiently for its moment. Derek thought my cruel joke about remembering him was just words. But I do remember him, not the son I raised, but the thief he became. The Alzheimer's stole many memories, but that one remains sharp. Him loading my cars, patting my hand, counting his profits. The disease that took my mind gave me clarity about his character. To those facing similar diagnoses, document everything while you can. Trust lawyers, not family. Plan for the worst, hope for the best. And remember, even in the fog, justice can find its way. My video will prove that a confused old man's clearest moment beats a clear young man's confusion about right and wrong. The cars are mostly gone now, sold properly to proper homes. But they served their purpose. They revealed Derek, protected, my legacy, and proved that Alzheimer's might steal your memories, but it doesn't have to steal your dignity. Not if you plan ahead. Not if you see the fog coming and light flares before it arrives. The neurologist's words echoed in my mind. Early stage Alzheimer's. Mr. Crawford, you have maybe 2 good years left. That night, My son Derek already had the paperwork ready. Power of attorney, asset transfers, sale agreements for my $3.2 million classic car collection. Don't worry, Dad. I'll handle everything while you still remember who I am. He thought he was being clever with that cruel joke. What he didn't know was that I'd recorded my video 6 months earlier when I first noticed the symptoms. Every car, every decision, every word, documented while my mind was still sharp as the edge of a 1967 Corvette Who Dot. If you've ever watched a loved one face memory loss while vultures circle their assets, subscribe to hear how preparation beats exploitation. Let me tell you how Alzheimer's revealed my son's true character and how a confused old man protected his legacy from beyond the fog. My name is James Crawford, 71 years old, retired automotive engineer and lifelong classic car collector. I bought my first classic, a 1959 Cadillac Eldorado, in 1975. With my first real paycheck from Ford Motor Company, my wife Sarah laughed. We need furniture, not a car that doesn't run. But I saw potential where others saw rust. For 46 years, I built one of the finest private classic car collections in California. Not the largest. I had 47 cars, not hundreds. But each one was special. The 1962 Ferrari 250 GTO. The 1955 Mercedes 300 SL Gullwing. The 1967 Shelby Cobra 427. Cars that weren't just valuable, they were art, history, engineering poetry, written in steel and chrome. Sarah understood eventually. She'd find me in the garage at midnight, polishing chrome or tuning carburetors. You love these cars more than me, she'd tease. I loved you first, I'd reply. These are just our children. When she died in 2018, I'd sit in different cars each night, remembering drives we'd taken, shows we'd attended. The cars held our memories when my mind started letting them go. My son Derek never understood. Born in 1985, he grew up surrounded by these machines but saw only dollar signs. Dad, you could buy 3 houses for what that Ferrari's worth. I don't want 3 houses, I'd reply. I want that Ferrari. He'd roll his eyes, check his phone, calculate my net worth again. The symptoms started subtly in early 2022. I'd forget where I parked at the grocery store. Mix up the years of similar models. Call the Jaguar by the Aston Martin's name. Small things that I attributed to age, stress from Sarah's death, too many cars to track. But deep down I knew both my father and grandfather had Alzheimer's. The family curse was coming for me. That's when I made the decision that would save everything. I called Thomas Brennan, the best estate attorney in Los Angeles. I need to create an ironclad video, Will, I told him. Something that can't be challenged even if I'm declared incompetent. Thomas understood immediately. We'd seen too many collectors' families destroy carefully curated collections for quick cash. Over 3 days in March 2022, we filmed everything. Each car got its own segment, 20 to 30 minutes of detailed documentation. I'd stand beside each vehicle, fully lucid, explaining its history, restoration details, current value, and most importantly, sale conditions. This 1962 Ferrari 250 GTO, CHASSI, as number 3851 GT, can only be sold to a documented collector with references from the Ferrari Club of America. Minimum price, $48 million. Any sale must include video confirmation from me, dated within 30 days of transfer. Thomas had me repeat key phrases to establish mental competency. State the date, location, my full name, my understanding of what I was doing. We had 2 witnesses, a notary, and a neurologist present to certify my mental state. Excessive? Maybe. Necessary? Absolutely. October 2022, after months of worsening symptoms, I finally saw Dr. Patricia Chun, a specialist at UCLA. The tests were thorough: MRI, PET scan, cognitive assessments, blood work. The diagnosis wasn't surprising, but it still hit like a sledgehammer. Early-stage Alzheimer's disease, Mr. Crawford. You're still highly functional, but we need to discuss planning. I'd already planned. The video was secure in Thomas's safe, with copies in 2 other locations. I'd set up a trust with specific instructions, created a detailed database of every car with photos, documentation, and care instructions. Most importantly, I'd added a crucial clause. Any heir who sold a car without following the video will's conditions would forfeit their entire inheritance. Derek arrived that evening, somehow already knowing about the diagnosis. "Dad, we need to talk about your future," he said, sitting in my living room like he owned it. "I've been researching care facilities. Found a nice place in Pasadena." "I'm not going to a facility," I said. "Not yet." "Be realistic, Dad. You can't manage this collection anymore. It's dangerous. What if you forget to lock the garage? What if you try to drive and get lost?" His concern was touching. Also completely fake. I saw him eyeing the Ferrari keys on the wall, already calculating commissions. Derek moved fast. Within a week, he had a lawyer, not Thomas, someone cheaper and more flexible with ethics. Papers appeared on my dining table. Power of attorney forms, asset transfer documents, healthcare directives. "It's just precautionary, Dad, while you can still sign them. I'll have Thomas review them," I said. "Thomas is expensive, Dad. My guy is just as good." I played along, pretending to be more confused than I was. Let Derek think the Alzheimer's was progressing rapidly. I'd sign papers, then claim I didn't remember. Ask the same questions repeatedly. Sometimes I'd genuinely forget things, but often. I was testing him, seeing how far he'd go. The first car disappeared in January 2023. My 1969 Dodge Charger Daytona, one of only 503 made. Derek claimed I'd agreed to sell it to pay for home health care. "You don't remember, Dad? We discussed it yesterday." I didn't argue. Just noted the sale price, $180,000. Market value was closer to $400. Zero. Derek had pocketed the difference dot by February. 3 more cars were gone. The 1970 Plymouth Barracuda, the 1965 Shelby Cobra, the 1958 Porsche 356 Speedster. Each sold quietly, quickly, well below value. Derek brought me papers to sign, always when I was tired, confused. "Just routine maintenance documents, Dad." I'd sign, then text Thomas from my bedroom. Document everything. March 2023 was when Derek abandoned all pretense. I woke up one morning to find trucks in my driveway, men loading cars onto trailers. "What's happening?" I asked, genuinely confused. This time, Derek patted my shoulder. "Remember, Dad, we discussed this. The collection is too much for you to manage. I've found buyers for everything. 43 cars left that day. My life's work loaded onto trucks like scrap metal. The Ferrari 250. GTO sold for $8 million to a dealer who'd flip it for $48 million. The Mercedes Gullwing, gone for $400,000, worth triple that. The Shelby Cobra that Carroll himself had signed, practically given away. I sat in my empty garage that night, genuinely crying, not because the cars were gone, I'd expected that, but because my son had become exactly what I'd feared. A vulture, picking at what he thought was a corpse. Sarah would have been heartbroken. Her boy, her baby, treating his father like an ATM with dementia. Derek left papers on my kitchen table. Sale receipts, transfer documents, bank deposits. Total collected, $3.2 million for cars worth over $15 million. His commission, 40% as my care manager. He'd stolen not just my collection, but my legacy, selling to dealers who'd part them out, ship them overseas, destroy their provenance. The next morning, I called Thomas. My mind was clear. Alzheimer's is like that, windows of clarity between the fog. It's time, I said. Derek sold everything. All of them? Thomas asked. All 47? In one day? A low market value, to dealers and flippers. Thomas was quiet. Then, I'll file the paperwork this afternoon. This is going to be interesting. The video will was beautiful in its simplicity. Each car had specific sale conditions that had to be met, verified collectors only. Minimum prices based on documented appraisals, required waiting periods. Video, confirmation within 30 days of any sale. Derek had violated every single condition. According to the will's penalty clause, he'd forfeited his entire inheritance, not just from the cars, but everything. Thomas sent Derek a formal notice. The response was predictable. Derek arrived in my house screaming, "You crazy old man! You can't do this. You have Alzheimer's. You don't even remember making that will." "I remember enough," I said calmly, "and so does the video." Derek tried. Everything. Claimed I was incompetent when I made the will. But we had the neurologist's statement from March 2022. Early symptoms, but fully competent. He claimed undue influence. But the video showed me alone, lucid, making decisions freely. He claimed the sale conditions were impossible, but multiple. Collectors had already contacted Thomas, willing to meet every requirement.